Hello everyone. Welcome to the Blockchain News Club. As the Ripple vs. SEC litigation continues, the community awaits the outcome with anticipation, hoping that Ripple will ultimately prevail. There are talks around the crypto community about FedNow Real-Time Payments to launch in the middle of 2023. Could the introduction of Fedcoin put an end to widespread use of XRP? What would happen to XRP if Ripple prevails in its fight against the SEC? Investors in XRP want to know what the future holds for the sixth-ranked cryptocurrency by market capitalization. One of the most important things that could have a big impact on its success is the ongoing legal dispute between Ripple and the Securities and Exchange Commission. Ripple Labs was sued by the SEC because the company was accused of selling unregistered securities in the form of XRP tokens. The case has been going on for 3 years, and both sides have turned in their final documents and are waiting for a decision. David Reicher told that regulators in other countries have said that crypto can't be considered a security if there isn't an issuer. Because of the same thing, he said. Ripple will probably win the SEC's claim that it needs to register its tokens as securities. Ripple has said for a long time that investors don't have any rights because they don't have an investment contract. Reicher says that a positive outcome would be good for the whole crypto industry because the whole industry needs clarity and confidence. It is important for everyone in the industry to know exactly what the SEC, the U.S. Commodity Futures Trading Commission, and any other financial compliance agencies expect of them as far as their duties and rules go. Andrew Pickett is the chief trial lawyer at Andrew Pickett Law, says that everyone in the industry is eagerly awaiting the outcome of the lawsuit between Ripple and the SEC. Pickett points out that if Ripple wins their lawsuit, it could help XRP become more accepted in the U.S. market, which would be good for its price. In other places, he says that the outcome is a fundamental setting, an important precedent that can be used by leading financial institutions to apply to other cryptocurrencies, like Bitcoin. This could make it easier for more traditional investors and businesses to get into the cryptocurrency market, which they might have been hesitant to do before because the law was unclear. In particular, if the regulator wins this case, it could be very bad for XRP, its investors, and the cryptocurrency market as a whole. In particular, the governing body has the power to fine Ripple Labs and make the company register XRP as a security. As a result, a decision like this would mean that XRP would be treated just like other securities, which could make it harder for people to use and adopt. On the other hand, if Ripple is able to successfully defend itself against the SEC's arguments, it could be seen as a big win for the company and a good sign for XRP. Even though Ripple won some of the hearings, the final outcome of the lawsuit is still unknown, which is a very important thing to remember. Is Ripple being targeted by the SEC because it offers a fully functional CBDC ecosystem? The lawsuit between the SEC and Ripple has brought up a lot of talk about the different reasons why the SEC might be after Ripple. One possibility has to do with the fact that Ripple's CBDC platform is now up and running. This gives the Ripple ecosystem a huge advantage over many central banks. Even though the SEC didn't say that Ripple's relationship with CBDCs was one of the reasons it sued it, it won't be a surprise if Ripple's CBDC platform is a threat to other central banks. Former Goldman Sachs executive Raoul Pal makes a case for Ripple's place in the industry by saying that the company has built a strong relationship with governments around the world. I think that if the legal issue is taken care of, the value of the chain will probably go up a lot, and as the world moves towards central bank digital currencies, I think the XRP network will be in the middle of it all. I know that it's not everyone's favorite thing right now, but I think it's a big player, and a real niche. Pal told me. Ripple's private XRP ledger is made for the use of digital currencies from central banks. CBDCs can be managed, traded, mined, and destroyed on the platform. Since 2021, Ripple has been working with the central banks of different countries to start a CBDC. Ripple has helped the Republic of Palau, Bhutan, and the UK launch their own CBDCs over the years. Ripple is now working with the Digital Dollar Project, DDP, which is a non-profit group that is making the digital dollar for the US. The group said it will work with Ripple to start a technical sandbox program that will make it easier for people to look into a US CBDC. Ripple's lawsuit is still going on, but it is expected to end soon. The ongoing lawsuit between the SEC and Ripple has hurt the price of XRP, and Ripple supporters have been waiting for a final decision from the judge for a long time. Back in December, both Ripple and the SEC asked for a joint motion to be extended until January 13, 2023. As people wait for the summary judgment, Ripple's lawyer, John E. Deaton, remains hopeful that Ripple will win the case. The person who made BitBoy Crypto, Ben Armstrong, thinks that the case will be over this year. He also sees U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission Chairman Gary Gensler handing in his resignation. During the last 2 U.S. administrations, the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission has promoted a policy of regulation by enforcement for U.S.-based digital asset markets like Coinbase and the enterprise blockchain industry, which makes fintech solutions like Ethereum, Ripple, Stellar, and Circle. Jay Clayton and Gary Gensler, who came after each other as chairman, both said that every digital asset except Bitcoin is a security and should be registered with the SEC like a stock. There are no more details after that, unless you get sued by the SEC. The SEC hopes that the people it charges will pay up quickly. Parties that dare to go to court against the SEC need to have a lot of money, top-notch lawyers, and years of patience. This enforcement doesn't do much to make the market clear or protect investors, which is ostensibly what the regulatory exercise is supposed to do. The SEC said that this way of doing things would protect investors. For FTX, that didn't work out. The current crypto winter was caused by a string of regulatory mistakes and events that destroyed wealth. Gary Gensler, the head of the SEC, says that FTX and all other digital crypto assets are out of compliance and that the people who came up with them need to come in and register with the SEC. Paper and being there in person at the SEC should do the trick. In any case, the SEC hasn't put out these registration forms, rules, procedures, or instructions, and it hasn't come up with a theory for how this kind of regulatory deterrence will protect investors. Sheila Warren, the well-respected head of the Crypto Council for Innovation, pointed out that the FTX case is not about crypto in and of itself, but about people who did wrong. The Department of Justice is charging Sam Bankman-Fried and his accomplices with multiple counts of fraud, wire fraud, theft, and money laundering. This is on top of the SEC complaint and another one for a campaign finance violation. This shows that crypto is already subject to a number of rules and laws, as Warren says. In fact, there are already a number of regulators who say they are in charge of crypto. But FTX wasn't the only big crypto event at the end of the year that caused the SEC to start up its spin machine. After 2 long years in the Southern District of New York, the SEC v. Ripple trial, which has been called the trial of the century for its importance, has reached its end. The SEC's crypto policy of regulating by enforcement is best shown by the lawsuit over the San Francisco-based enterprise blockchain company's sales and distributions of the XRP token. When Clayton's SEC filed the case on his last day in office, it was clear that it was a chance to settle quickly. For 7 years, the SEC made broad claims that the XRP token itself was a security, and it sued Ripple chairman Chris Larsen and CEO Brad Garlinghouse. In hindsight, it seemed like tactical saber-rattling to scare the company's 2 top officials into a settlement, isolate the company in court, and shame it into giving up. But Ripple fought back, destroyed the SEC's legal arguments, and got strong support from 75,000 XRP holders and many of the industry's top associations, legal experts, and companies. Gensler's use of the whole industry as a scapegoat is likely meant to draw attention away from the many meetings he and his inner circle had with FTX founder Sam Bankman-Fried, SBF, and how close SBF was to getting a regulatory pass before the fraud was discovered right under the SEC's nose. So, it was strange when Charles Gasparino of Fox Business tweeted that the SEC was conducting an autopsy of the Ripple case. Gasparino and his co-worker Eleanor Tourette wrote about Clayton and his senior staff's conflicts of interest. Clayton and his senior staff have since left. Gasparino tweeted, "It's worth asking why the SEC focused on XRP/Ripple," adding that his agency's sources say Ripple management was ignoring their authority by continuing to sell XRP after being told to stop because the way it was being sold seemed to establish XRP's status as a security. Ripple never got a notice to stop from the SEC telling them to stop selling XRP. No letters or official warnings were sent out or put in the paper trail for this case. One official thought that Ripple's sales of XRP made it a security, but internal emails and documents that the SEC fought for more than a year to keep from the judge paint a different picture. In such a cloud of confusion, what does compliance mean for Ripple or anyone else in the market? Reporter Gasparino tries to write down word for word the confusing SEC jargon on the issue, but there's no way to hide the SEC's failed and harmful policy of regulation by enforcement. Is the SEC's public relations officers' desperate attempts to downplay the crypto regulation disaster? What are your thoughts, folks? The U.S. Central Bank plans to start its FedNow payment service in July 2023. FedNow is a system that can settle international payments instantly and in a way that can't be changed. This can happen at any time of day, 365 days a year. Starting as early as September, the central bank will run a test program. The pilot will involve more than 120 organizations, such as banks and payment processors. Many people thought that the Federal Reserve would use its own blockchain or a CBDC, but FedNow does not use blockchain technology in any way. With the FedNow system, you can settle payments quickly, reliably, and in a way that can't be changed. This is the value proposition of many cryptocurrencies. Almost all commercial banks settle their accounts with the central bank today. Only the Fed can make sure that one bank has deducted dollars from its account and that another bank has received those dollars with absolute certainty and finality. Every day, trillions of dollars are settled through FedWire, which is the main payment network for settling interbank transactions on the ledger of the central bank. Visa and MasterCard, which handle hundreds of billions of transactions each year, come in second and third, but they are a long way behind FedWire. Visa, for example, processed more than 164.7 billion transactions in 2021 and 140.8 billion transactions in 2020. But credit card transactions aren't finalized until more than a month after the date of the original payment. This gives time for chargebacks, money transfers, and other ways to settle a dispute. Even though payments made with a revocable credit card are faster, they still have to go through several steps before they can reach the recipient's bank account, which can take days. The average time to send money through Western Union within the same country is 24 hours, and it can take up to 5 days to send money to another country. Blockchains do say that they can settle payments faster than consumer payment options like bank checks or ACH transfers. But blockchain payments are usually irreversible because they are run by trusted people who run nodes or mining pools. Consider Bitcoin, which is the oldest and most decentralized blockchain network. It can settle one block of about 2,000 payments every 10 minutes, and it's a good idea to wait for 5 more block confirmations to make sure the money has been settled irreversibly. In conclusion, Bitcoin can handle about 12,000 transactions per hour. Other blockchains claim to have faster settlements, but they do this by sacrificing the decentralization of nodes, the security of block production, or both. This means that they are not trustless in the sense of a global consensus of irreversible settlement. FedWire, on the other hand, lets banks send and receive 811,472 transfers per day without having to trust each other. FedNow will speed up payment settlement even more, cutting the time it takes from days to seconds. This will help banks and businesses get their money faster. FedNow also has tools to stop fraud and other services that add value. Most blockchains are not yet decentralized enough, secure enough, or large enough to handle the settlement guarantees of a central bank. If the Federal Reserve's FedNow service goes well when it starts in July, it could meet the needs of most consumers, businesses, and banks. Fast, cheap, and irreversible payment settlements. A Federal Reserve governor said that the new FedNow payment service will solve many of the problems Fedcoin supporters say the central bank digital currency will solve. Michelle Bowman talked about FedNow as a better alternative to Fedcoin at the recent VenCent FinTech conference in Little Rock, Arkansas. This is something she has been saying for years. FedNow will help change the way payments are made by offering new services that let consumers and businesses make payments easily, in real time, any day of the week, and with the funds for the receivers being available right away. Our assessment of these benefits hasn't changed, even as we think about how a central bank digital currency might fit into the future of money and payments in the US, she told the audience. The Fed is working on a new instant payment service called FedNow, which is expected to come out early next year. Bowman thinks that the new service will solve the problems that Fedcoin fans have brought up about the need for it. The regulator also looked into digital assets and plans by some banks to offer them to their customers. For one thing, she thinks that people outside of the banking industry have greatly overstated the demand for digital asset products in the mainstream financial system. But before a bank starts to deal with crypto assets or offer services related to them, it must think carefully and seriously about the risks involved, both for the bank and for its customers. The recent trouble in the digital asset industry has only shown how true this is, she said. For now, the Fed is focusing on giving regulatory guidance to regulated financial institutions about digital assets. This includes how to handle custody, how to help customers buy these assets, how to issue stable coins, and how to handle loans backed by digital assets. Bowman has been at the Fed since 2018. She has been against the digital dollar for a long time. She has said more than once that she doesn't see why the CBDC is needed. She said last year, "I'm not sure I understand or see the business case for making it." Can FedNow replace the need for a XRP? The FedNow is more likely to replace CBDC. XRP is a bridge currency. With the new development in CBDCs among the G20 nations and the long list of financial partnerships, XRP is set to act as a bridge currency. Comment below if you believe that Fedcoin will replace the need of XRP. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe for regular updates in the blockchain community.